Hello everybody and welcome to this week's class. A few points I'd like to remind you of. The first point is the announcement for the listening test that I posted on the LMS last week. So please check through and read this, very important. The notification is also in Korean. If you miss the test, you will fail the course. So very important that you read this information and make the test. Also, speaking of tests, there's a small number of students who still have not done the midterm test. If you haven't done a midterm test with me, please get in touch with me and arrange a time to do the midterm test. The material for this week's class, we're looking at Unit 10, which will post on the LMS. Okay, this week in week 10 in the textbook, here's the textbook. We're looking at present perfect tense. Have you ever been there? So present perfect tense talks about experience. Now it's very important that you review the textbook for yourself and read these things. I've put a little explanation here in the material looking at present perfect tense. The structure, right? The subject plus have plus main verb. So we use the past participle. Have given, have been arrested, have traveled are examples of the present perfect. So have plus PP is the simple form for present perfect. I have been to Seoul, which means I have visited Seoul at some point in the past, and that relates to now. So this is the main thing I want to concentrate on for this week. For the final exam, I'll get you to ask questions talking about your partner's past experience, and we use present perfect to talk about past experience. So present perfect is present tense. It's something that happens before now that relates to now. It's very important. So we use have been, and it's not very common tense or in other languages, certainly not in Korean. Right? So if you think about what is equivalent in Korean, an example would be something like 식사했습니까, which is past tense in Korean, but in English it would be present perfect tense. It would say, have you eaten? Right? Because we're asking about your condition now, your experience up to now. And that's one of the biggest differences between English and Korean languages. English, you always need to speak out what you want to say, and so that's why we have more grammar tenses than in Korean. Okay, so when we use the past simple, right? Did you go to Seoul? Yes, I went last weekend. We're only asking about information about the past, which doesn't come back to now. But when we ask, have you been to Seoul? Yes, I've been to Seoul. I've been 3 times. I've been 2 times in the last year. I haven't been to Seoul since 1998. Right? We're not interested in when you did it. We want to know if you've done it or how often you do it, if the situation is changing or how much experience is related to what you're doing. So the present perfect is deeply related to talking about experience. And I've put more notes about it here. You can read through this for yourself. But I pretty much covered all that in what I've spoken about now. So when we get to class this week, I want you to, before class, fill out this dialogue for yourself. And the first part of class, I'll get you to practice this together with your partner to develop some natural conversation speaking. Right? So you should be able to fill in this pretty easily for yourself. Have you done much exercise this week? Yes, I have already been to Pilates class 4 times. Have you played any sports this month, and so on. And then we'll practice that in class when we get to it. Okay, after that, I want you to then ask these questions to each other. So you're going to have to prepare answers to these questions. Have you ever sung in public? Which could mean like, have you ever sung in a noraebang? The answer will be yes, I have. And you have to extend your answer. Yes, I have is not enough. Yes, I have. I sang in a noraebang last month. Or I have been singing in a noraebang since I was 16. I often sing in noraebangs. So you'll change the tense, or could change the tense, to answer these questions. So before class, please make sure and check that you have good answers to give to your partner for these questions. These questions would be great in a final exam. Okay, and the last point for this class is for and since. So we use for and since with the present perfect to talk about periods of time or points of time. So from the textbook, how long did you live in Miami? I lived there for 4 years. Have you ever lived in Miami? Yes, I have lived there for 4 years. Would be the present perfect. Or you could say, how long have you lived in Miami? I have lived there since a point in time, since 2011. Okay, so have a look at these examples here. So we use for a period from start to end. So I've been studying for 20 minutes. I've been exercising for 3 days. I have been dating my girlfriend for 6 months. Excuse me. Since is only from a point of time. I have been in the library since 9 a.m. I have been awake since 9 a.m. Korea has been free of Japanese occupation since 1945. Like that. A point in time. So just note the difference when we use these prepositions for and since. And if we get time, we'll practice these questions as well. Okay, I hope that's clear. Again, if you have any problems, please get in touch. If not, I'll see you in class this week.